Hello, such a beautiful day here today. So excited to speak on this topic. Welcome to the greatest gift you can give yourself and how to do so. Before we get started, take care of what you need to take care of, get cozy, grab your journal, grab a pencil, sit down and get ready to dive in because this is just something so magical and wonderful. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself, right? So it's better than Disneyland, it's better than money, it's better than anything in the world, and you can give it to yourself. Okay, so before we get into it, first things first, I would invite you to take a second to think about what you think the greatest gift you can give yourself is. If you were to think about that and if you were to answer that question, what would it be? Something that comes to mind for me straight away when I think of that is laughter, whether it's making somebody laugh, laughing myself, and just the energy of laughter. It's when something is funny, silly, a joke, especially when it's inappropriate to laugh. Those are the most heart-opening moments, I think. Okay, but now that you've had your moment to ponder, the greatest gift you can give yourself is to be able to sit with yourself and to feel comfortable in that. Step before that would be being able to do that even while feeling uncomfortable in that. And the way to get to the place that you can feel comfortable being in your own energy, sitting with yourself, being your own companion, is by doing hard things. Doing hard things, it turns out, is the ticket to everything you ever wanted. Take a second to think about that. And when I say you, just an FYI, when I even use the word you when I talk to anybody, right? I'm talking to me. Because you are another me, I am another you. That's how it works, that's how it is. And if you're familiar with Neville Goddard, I'm such a fan of any law of assumption teacher because I'm a fan of quantum physics. I'm a fan of understanding my reality in the 4D, in the 5D, beyond the 3D, and beyond matter in the surface level. So I'm very interested in the quantum field. So Neville Goddard is somebody from the 1930s, Rip Neville. He was one of the main teachers that people reference when they speak about law of assumption. And what law of assumption means is just that it's the unwritten law. There's nothing that you have to do to apply it. It's just that by what you naturally assume subconsciously creates your reality. So that's basically laying the foundation for how reality works. So Neville Goddard, one of his concepts, which is a great one, little acronym for it is EIYPO. Everyone is you pushed out. Can also be called everything is you pushed out. So basically, you can see this in every single thing you see. That's why it's trippy to think about at first if you haven't thought of this before, because every person, the way they're acting, their thoughts, their words to you is you pushed out. So when you're walking around in the world, every single thing you see is you pushed out. So when I'm talking to my little camera and I say you, I'm talking about me, you, all of us, but like especially myself. So that's just laying a one little foundation for life right there. Doing hard things is hard. It's hard to do hard things. That's why we avoid it, we resist it, we procrastinate. No, denial, I will not do this, I don't want to do this. We throw a tantrum, we scroll to infinity, we do everything to avoid doing the hard things until something happens to us, our shit gets rocked, we get knocked on our asses. Whatever experience you're thinking of right now, you've had it. You've had that time where you just couldn't resist anymore and you had no choice but to full on surrender, let go, let God, and you just had to say, all right, what are we doing? Let me face this now, right? So you've had that moment. And it sucks sometimes when we are so stubborn. Me, I'm very stubborn. I'm sure you are too. And when we're so stubborn that we really resist change or suffering or whatever it is, listening to our bodies. And it's just like our body is like, hello, let's do this. No, let's resist. And then something will happen, whether it's an illness, an injury, grief, the loss of a loved one, world stress accumulating and affecting your nervous system to the point where you literally have no choice but to rewire it. XYZ, fill in your blank. So until we reach our rock bottom, typically, for most of us, is the start of when we start to embrace spirituality, religion, love, forgiveness, any type of beautiful, positive thing that usually the average, like, happy, chill person isn't inclined to do for themselves if nothing is wrong. So when we think about hard things in that way, we can actually see how it's reframed to such a gift. Wow, this hard, terrible thing in my life, OMG, this is terrible, so sorry for your loss, sorry you're going through this. No, thank you so much. Wow, this is incredible. This is so great that this really hard thing is happening to me, because now I have such this gift and this opportunity to face it. And over time, by facing these hard things, the hard things in themselves will diminish. By law, they will diminish. If you are chest out, chin up, and you are facing it, it will have no choice but to turn into what you're making it into, aka solution-based instead of problem-based. So the more we do hard things, the more we are facing a part of ourself. Because when we're resisting ourselves, and we're saying, no, I can't do this, or I'm afraid to do this, there's fear, there's different things coming up. But once we have no choice but to face it, we're kind of like impressed, like, oh my God, I didn't know I had that in me. Well, I knew I had that in me, but I didn't really believe it until I saw it. And look at me now. Now other people are seeing my resilience. Now I'm feeling a little confident. I've grown some esteem. I've grown some sense of self. My self-concept is changing. I'm now like a new girl in my eyes because I went through this hard thing. And I took myself out of the victim mentality of going through the hard thing, and I became a star. I rose above. I became the phoenix rising from the ashes. Wow, this is incredible. Now I can sit with myself. So it's really connected, being able to sit with ourselves without filling in the void, whether that's phone, drug of choice, substance of choice, food, music, people, codependency, choose your fighter, you know yourself. By not doing that, and by literally surrendering, big fat full surrender, exhale, death, we unlock the key to a magical, miraculous, beautiful, harmonious, wonderful life. And that's all we want, most of us. That's really all we want. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I talk about this in some of my other videos, just about phone usage, social media usage, and anyone who knows me knows I am very, very, very passionate about preserving our brains. I love our brains. I love your brain. I love my brain. I want to keep them in tip-top shape. I want them sharp. I want them bursting with ideas and revelations and epiphanies and seeing through the matter, seeing into the field, seeing into other realms, psychic power, intuition, next level, everything. That's why I meditate, that's why I'm passionate, that's why I'm strict and devoted to healthy habits, because I have went through many hard things and through the immense suffering and immense resistance, fear, loathing, Las Vegas, everything, I have come out on the other side and been forced to now be able to sit with myself. So taking it way back, as a kid, that's what we do. We sit with ourselves, we chill, we independent play, especially those of us who did grow up without technology on this level that it's currently at, where a lot of the children are being weaponized and are suffering, but it's part of their path with the technology. So we can think back to the good old days of playing for hours, daydreaming, doing all our tasks just with us. Now we have these little machines in our pocket all the time. Oh, let me Google this, let me take a picture, let me check my calendar, let me check my notification. And that has become a way that many of us fill our voids, dysregulate our nervous systems just to avoid sitting with ourselves and feeling some things that are asking to be felt. No, I don't want to feel that. I'd rather go on Instagram. Yes, Instagram. No, I don't want to feel that. I'd rather go on Facebook Reels. Yes, because if I'm upset about something I'm seeing on Facebook Reels, I don't have to think about what I'm really upset about from 1950 with my little sister. You know what I'm saying? So being aware is that very first step that we can say, when's the last time I sat with myself? It's been a while. Am I comfortable sitting with myself? Why don't you give a little try, give a little experiment, see if you were in silence, you were alone, and you weren't doing anything, see how you would feel. Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel relief, like thank God, OMG, I needed this? Do you feel weird? Like, oh my God, I've never felt this feeling before. What is this? Does it feel foreign? Does it feel good, bad, ugly, fearful, any of the above? So I have had many instances where I felt that I couldn't sit with myself, which is again why I'm passionate about doing it and why I realize that it is the best gift we can give ourselves. That ability is peace. That ability is just bliss. That ability is comfort, safety, ease. It's everything that a person could want. And if you have kids, set them up. Start now to have them be able to sit with themselves and feel empowered in themselves and feel assured in themselves and not have to ask everyone around them for guidance. You know, those people that consult their phone for any decision. What do I wear today? Talk to my little bot. What's the weather? What should I invest in? From A to Z, people are looking outside of themselves and not within to that ancient wisdom and guidance that we all have in us and around us at all times. We all have this access to this really sweet place. So might as well use it. So I have known how it's felt to be in a place where I'm just like, cannot sit with myself right now, 911, murder. And in those instances, when you are just really through the ringer, on death's door, fighting for your life, PTSD survival vibe, that's not necessarily the time to embark on this. That use any distraction that you need to use to get yourself out of that survival and out of that panic and out of that anxiety. Like, use any distraction you see fit. But then if you're realizing, oh, it's kind of been a few years of me being in this survival because there's always something, or okay, I'm out of that really bad situation now, but I'm still doing that distracting habit. I need to actually have a real strict boundary with myself, turn this off, log out of this, and really start to tend to my soul now and tend to my heart now, because it is speaking to me and it is asking me kindly right now to please tune in. Soon, it's not going to be so kind in the way that it's going to be asking you if you neglect it for way too long. So if you have kids, that's the best gift you can give them, to be able to set them up to be content with themselves, fulfilled in themselves. And if you don't have kids, you do still, because you got that inner child, and you can give them that gift. You can reparent, you can teach them all about the ease and the comfort and the joy that we can find when we are able to sit with ourselves and when we are able to do hard things. So one other note about doing hard things, right? When I have to do something, get to do something, have to do something, choose your fighter, that I really just don't want to do for whatever reason, I can tend to feel a little dramatic. I can tend to be like, this is the end of the world. I really don't want to do this. Oh, I really want to do this instead, but I have to do this. When you find yourself in that situation, it is time to up the mind games. It is time to put on the John Lennon and start playing the mind games, because that is when the fun comes in, and that is when you can have the opportunity to rewire your mind and rewire by working with a triggering situation or a situation that you're resisting. So let's say you have to work a 12-hour shift cleaning up poopy toilets and you really don't want to do it. Okay, let's say that's what it is. And you're like, oh my God, I would rather do anything right now than work this 12-hour shift and clean up these poopy toilets. But you committed, or whatever the reason is you're doing it, you need to feed your family, you're doing it, right? So at that point, you already know you're doing it. That's determined. Okay, yes, I'm doing this. There's no meteor coming, so I'm still doing this. Unless, okay, yeah, I'm still doing this. Okay, so to know that you're already going to do it, that's when you have to just change your attitude about it right then and there. Whatever you have to do in your mind to make yourself excited to clean the poopy toilets for 12 hours, that's what you have to do. If you're motivated by money, you can tell yourself, okay, if I go to this 12-hour shift to clean these poopy toilets, I am getting $1 million reward at the end of my shift. What? I'm winning this $1 million lottery just by doing this 12-hour shift. What do you mean? Yeah, so no, actually, when I go to work, I'm gonna be going to work. What's the attitude that I'm going to be having on a day, knowing that at the end of my 12-hour shift, I'm receiving $1 million? You'd be scooping, you'd be pooping, you'd be so excited. You'd be like, wow, 12 more hours, ooh, 11 more hours. The time would probably fly because you'd be in a great mood. You'd be daydreaming and thinking about how you're going to spend your earnings. You would be excited. You would be in a more positive place than you would be without any type of reward or mental stimulation in sight. If you were just desolate and not looking up to anything, looking forward to anything, right? So, but you might be saying, well, that's stupid because I'm not winning $1 million. I'm making like $15 an hour cleaning my toilets. Like, I'm not winning $1 million. That's really stupid. Okay, but you literally will put yourself in the situation to resonate with winning $1 million if you are able to act as if you actually are. Stay with me. If this sounds fake, I can personally swear that it's not. $1 million doesn't have to be your example either. Whatever it is, oh my God, this boy will call me back if I finish this shift. Ah, I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk to him on the phone. This is the best day of my life. This is the best work shift of my life. Whatever you have to do to make your attitude shining. And then when your coworkers see you that day, they're gonna be like, oh, hey, why are you in such a great mood? We're all here and we're all complaining. We're all miserable. Oh, not me. I'm doing my work with joy. I'm doing my work with pride because I know I'm rewarded for doing so. I know that by tuning into this frequency and this resonance and this attitude, I am a match for great things and great rewards and beautiful gifts by doing so. Are you a match for a reward when you're maybe? If you're really loved and protected and there's things in your favor, maybe. But scientifically speaking, no, you're not. So knowing that, right? I know when I'm in such a shitty mood, when I'm a beast, when I'm a monster, when I cannot be around anyone, I'm like, turn off the phone, do not interact, do not let the world see this monster right now. This is not acceptable, right? When you know that that happens, just do whatever you have to do to feel it, let it out, have your little tantrum, have your little meltdown, and then keep your mind back up in frequency with whatever you want, right? Whether it's love, whether it's nourishment, whether it's swimming with dolphins, going to Disney World, whatever makes your little heart happy, like live in that state in yourself, and the actual material will automatically show its face in time. That is a guarantee. But the point is, You're using the mental mind game as the means to create your current state the way you want to feel. So if you let the external reality make you feel the way that you feel, oh, because the sky is gray today, I'm sad. Oh, because this person cut me off in traffic and smashed into my car and totaled it, I'm sad. That's an option. We can allow our 3D to create our inner state, but remember what I said about everything is you pushed out. You are creating the situations in your circumstance, in your 3D anyway, subconsciously. No shame, no blame, but it's true. And so by reacting to everything that you're creating, it's still you. It's still you. So you might as well make you what you want. And then that way, everything in your external will start to glimmer and to shine and to pick up that frequency and that resonance. It really will. So by doing really hard things, it sucks, it's terrible, but how can you make it fun? Like imagine you had a little kid with you or a little animal with you and you wanted to make a shitty experience positive for that little being, right? There's ways that you can always make something more palatable, more appetizing, more appealing. You can do that. You are very powerful. And yes, it will feel fake, it will feel foreign and weird and ridiculous if it's your first time doing it and if you're a really like little pessimistic Polly and a really negative Nelly, it's going to feel bizarre and weird. But then guess what? It becomes your norm, and then your normal life becomes more balanced out. If you're used to chaotic, tumultuous roller coaster life, if you are inside tumultuous, chaotic roller coaster girl, boy, then once you're smoothing everything out, everything around you is going to look different. Oh, wow, my mom actually didn't curse me out on the phone today. Wow, what a beautiful thing. Oh, this person waved at me on the street. Me, what? Wow, like things are really looking up here. Things are really turning around. You have the power to do all that. And yes, doing hard things. It is hard. It's hard to do hard things, but you know what's harder than doing hard things? Not doing hard things and hiding from the hard things and procrastinating the hard things, because that heap of junk that's going to slam dunk onto you at a certain point, it's going to accumulate, it's going to slam. That is what is harder, way harder. So let's say waking up and not checking your phone, hard. That's hard. But waking up every single day with your phone, jacking up your nervous system, dysregulating your circadian rhythm, creating health issues down the line, creating a sense of depression and dissatisfaction and lack of fulfillment in your life, and your loved ones don't even want to be around you anymore. That's harder. That's harder. That's harder. So I'll share a story. So I tried to do hard things. I tried to challenge myself, bring myself out of my comfort zone as much as I possibly can, while also, not overdoing it, sometimes, a lot of times I do overdo it, but I try to keep a balance. So I ended up starting a little job at a figure drawing class at an art studio. And I am a model for these artists to draw. And I've done one before where the model was able to basically pick the poses, pick the times, the length, and it was pretty easy. This place, I signed up for 4 weeks, and each class is 3 hours long, so that's 12 hours. So my first day there, they're all so nice, so kind, so sweet, love them all, they're all so talented as well, and they tell me the pose that I'm doing, which entails holding a little sword. It's not like I'm holding it in the air, it's not heavy, it's just that I'm holding a sword that is resting on the ground. And I have a little sash around me, and I'm holding my sword. Okay, that's nothing crazy, right? There's nothing crazy about that. Totally doable, totally normal. But I didn't know that I'd be holding that same pose for the whole 12-hour span of the class. So I didn't know I'd be holding that pose for 3 hours the first week, 3 hours the second week, 3 hours. So when I was holding the pose at first, it's in 20-minute increments, and the person in charge told me after the first break, okay. And I said, oh, we're doing the same pose. We're going back to the same pose. He said, yeah, we're doing that pose all day. And I said, oh, okay. I didn't know that in myself, but on the outside I went, okay, that's wonderful. Oh, wow, okay. So we do it. So then by the end of the day, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did it. Good job. I did my pose. That was 3 hours worth of the same pose. That is so hard. The body just wants to resist and make another pose and counterbalance the position. So then I look at his drawing and my body's there, but the sword isn't there. And he said, oh yeah, next week I'll fill in the sword. I said, oh, we're doing the same pose next week too? He said, yeah, the whole 4 weeks is the same pose. I said, oh, my life flashed before my eyes, because it was so hard to me mentally to not resist and to surrender into one pose for that length of time, for the 12 hours. And some more context is just that my body has been through a lot. I have had different illnesses and injuries and pain and different things that other people might not do things like this in that body. However, I pride myself on doing hard things, tuning into resilience, sitting with my thoughts, and guess what? In modeling, there's no talking, there's no moving, you're frozen. You're right there. And if you have a thought that you're afraid of and you don't want to sit with that thought, it's coming up. It is coming right up. It's at the surface, because there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You are just there. Highly recommend any person to go to your local art schools and do modeling for students, because of that experience. It is so hard just to sit with yourself and just to be in your own energy and your thoughts and not be able to move externally. So even being at home, being able to move around, some people might still have a hard time being with themselves and having that freedom of the body movement. But in this, you're no pinky, no anything, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You are just purely raw with your raw brain, no filter. Other challenges of that, anyone that knows me knows I'm super sensitive to lighting, like LED lights and artificial lights. Not the sun, I love the sun, but artificial lighting. So they have you like encompassed over little bulbs and bright lights. So there's that. There's the lights, which is a main trigger for me, that I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm being sweltered by these lights and I'm staring ahead. Yep, but I got this. I had to go to many different mind game places in my head. And another trigger, since it was getting cold out, the heat was on. And again, anyone that knows me, I am not a fan of artificial heat. Again, I love the natural heat and the outside summer heat, but when there's dry heat coming on, my body hates it. I mentally hate it. My body hates it. My mind hates it. So that came on. And then the third part is I'm also very sensitive. I'm a very sensitive girl, if you can't tell, but I'm very sensitive to vibration and frequency. So music is a big thing. So the music was on. It was super loud, like really loud, which I hate. But it was heavy metal music, like really intense metal, which I can get down with some metal, but this was something else. This was something really heavy and dark. And I was like, okay, so I had the lights, I had the heat, I had the music, and I was like, okay, I can do this. So, but unfortunately, the second week, this is a little long of a story, but I'm just trying to explain how hard things are rewarding. So I'm trying to say that, yes, they're messy and they're unpleasant, but I am glad I did them. So second week, unfortunately, I'm cooking under the rotisserie chicken lights and the heat and the music, and I'm like holding my sword, and then my body just starts dripping sweat. Like somebody poured like a bucket on me, and I'm like, it's fine, I got this. I don't need to rest, I'm good. The body's just sweating. And then all of a sudden, of course, I start losing my vision and blacking out, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, here we go. I'm like, excuse me guys, sorry, I just need a second, go down. And that's a trigger because in my childhood and in my youth, I would pass out all the time. And as a result of that, had a lot of PTSD and fear that I would pass out in different places and not be okay or be unsafe, or die. Because when you pass out, it kind of feels like you're dying just because it's just black and you're just losing your control and your consciousness. So anywho, they were all very nice. They let me turn off the heat, and then I put a nice little Italian 1970s movie score on the music. So I got rid of the heat, I changed the music to a better vibe, I chugged my salt, and I was good. So the point is, it was a very hard experience to do the modeling. And that's why I signed myself up for it, because I knew it wouldn't be easy. But going through those challenges and putting myself in that position when I very so easily could have just not signed up or not done it, it's like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the hard thing, just if not to say I did it, if not just to enjoy it, right? But also, how can I enjoy it? And in those moments when I'm like, okay, I got 20 minutes, at the end of this 20 minutes, I'm getting $1 million. At the end of the 20 minutes, I'm getting a brand new, I don't know, there's no brand new, but I just had to really hype myself up and think of really positive places. I was picturing waterfalls because I was like sweating, and I love waterfalls. I was picturing really beautiful, high vibrational, positive, lovely things. So that's what you have to do sometimes in that situation. There's a lot of other stories I can tell, starting with a Temazcal, a Mexican sweat lodge ceremony that my friends and I did last year in Mexico, and we ended up being in this freaking sweat lodge until 5 a.m. and we got there at 7 p.m. So do the math. It was an insane experience. I'm not even actually gonna go into that because that could be its whole other video in itself, and has to be one of the hardest things I've ever done, if not the hardest. We'll rank hard moments in another time, but the point is, we can do hard things, and though it seems counterintuitive to do hard things because we are taught to coddle ourselves and resist what's good for us, right? But actually, it's so good. And that's why, if you know me, you know I'm also very strongly anti-AI, because I believe convenience kills. I believe effort and dignity shape us. I believe doing the work is the most rewarding thing. If you sit down and you're a writer and you're writing a novel and you're pouring your blood, sweat, and tears and your creative juices and your carpal tunnel and everything into this novel, and at the end you can say you wrote it and it's published, that is such a success. I think it takes away for someone to just be able to use a literal robot to quote unquote write a novel, which isn't writing a novel at that point. It's just a bot using 70,000 gallons of water to hurt the world and take away our resources and make terrible writing. So that's my opinion on that, and you know that, I'm sure. But that being said, Debbie Downer. That being said, it really is such a skill at this point to have that effort and to have that dignity and to have that ability to say, I can do this. I can read a 500-page academic novel if I wish to. Or maybe I don't even wish to, but I do it because I want to keep myself sharp. I can bear the icy, windy weather when I could easily go inside and have a fireplace and a sweater and a heat on, but I'm going to do this. Just doing these things, having these hard conversations with people, being honest is a huge one. You could bullshit someone, or it's really comfortable and easy to bullshit someone, or you could do the hard thing and you can speak your truth and you could be vulnerable. Vulnerable. You could do that. That's hard. Which one's more rewarding though? Which one puts you in a quantum leap in another dimension? You can ascend by doing one, you can't ascend by doing the other. You can ascend to a place that you want to be by being your authentic self, by speaking your truth, by telling people how you feel. You can't ascend by, you just can't. You could, actually, you could, but there would have to be some other factors really in your favor for that. So, hard things. I think we've covered a lot of hard things. And if you've done a hard thing, I would love to hear about what hard thing you've done. Because I think if I would ask most people right now, I think they would say, I can't even think of one specific hard thing right now because a lot of things just feel hard for me. And that is where the motivation for that self-discipline and the devotion to healthy habits comes in. It's like, why is my life every day is feeling stressful, every day is feeling tough, I'm not feeling happy, I'm not feeling excited, I'm just a slave to my devices, my attention span is so cracked out, my dopamine centers are kaput. That's when it's time to like get real with the self, tune in, say, hi heart, what are you feeling? What do you want from me? What do you need today? What can I do for you today? Hi brain, how are you? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What would you like? What can I do for you today? Hi nervous system. You get the point. Hard things. I'm very passionate about helping people believe that they can do whatever it is they want to do. And all it starts with, as I said in the beginning of the video, is being the person who would do that, right? So when you think about your ideal self and your highest self, what type of person is she? What are her traits? Is she loving? Is she thoughtful? Is she sharp? Is she articulate? Does she help others? Is she herself? Is she authentic? Thinking about all these qualities and attributes and how she spends her time and what her day looks like, what her mornings look like when no one's watching, when there's no Truman camera, when there's no person around. What is she doing? Is she doing this? Is she doing this? What's going on? That's you. That's your life and that's your choice. Your life is the sum of all these tiny moments in our day. So if we're checking our phones 80 times a day or however many times people say they check their phones, what type of quality of life is that? And what type of standards does your higher self have? Is that acceptable for her? You decide that. So for me, remember when I say you, I mean me. So you, me, for we, when I started this journey, it was many years ago. I mean, started this journey. We've always all been on this journey. There's no start. But when I started making a conscious effort to radically change my life, I was in a terrible state. My life was unwell. I was really unwell. I had just broken up with my very codependent ex that we lived together for 4 years, drove the same car, had the same job. We were together all the time, and then we were apart, and it was my first time being alone, and I was so anxious. I could not sleep. I was jonesing. I was unwell. My best friend passed away. I was super upset and anxious all the time from that. I was like traumatized in myself. I'll go into it a little bit. I had like severe health anxiety, kind of thought I was dying as well at a lot of times. Couldn't sleep, had to numb myself a lot with phone and with a comfort show. Shout out to the Wonder Years, best show ever. And I just was always getting sick, was super malnourished and unhealthy, and anxious and depressed and scared all the time. I was in New York City at the time, going to school and commuting on the subway and the train, and I would run into terrible situations on the subway, scary things, train accidents, delays, being late for important exams, things like that. It was just like the reality that I was broadcasting and putting out was just the energy of so many things going wrong because I had the fear of so many things going wrong. But it reached a point where I had to start writing every day. You've heard of writing affirmations, but I wasn't just writing affirmations, I had to shift my reality. So my actual thought about reality was that the world is scary, the world is dangerous, I'm not safe. Like if I'm on this subway and I'm seeing these like scary people or witnessing negative things happening, that's traumatic for me. So I had to start identifying what my trigger was or what my reality was and flip it. So if my reality at that time was I'm not safe, I had to start writing I am safe and protected everywhere I go. My angels are always with me. Everything is always working out best case scenario instead of everything's going wrong, Murphy's Law. Just so many twists and flips, and affirming the opposite is what I had to do. It was a point of do or die. I was not able to live that type of life anymore. It was not sustainable, and it wasn't necessary. It's really not necessary to live that way. You can say when you've had enough, you can reach a point and say, okay, I don't resonate with this girl anymore of who I'm acting like. I'm going to now shift into my new self. My new self sits up tall when she pees on the toilet. My new self takes a deep breath every time she buckles her seatbelt. That's a quantum leap. Instead of getting in the car and zooming off, which I always love to do, getting in the car, buckling. Now I'm ready to go. That's a quantum leap. That's a major difference. So affirming the opposite, I had to start digging myself out, and slowly and surely by making these changes, creating and declaring the new reality that I was living in it wasn't overnight, of course, but it did eventually flip to where that was my baseline and that was my normal and that was my reality. So that's a gift and that's a blessing. And speaking of gifts, what the best part of doing that did to me was helping me be able to sit with myself again, because I told you before that I could not sit with myself. I was anxious. I always wanted to be on the phone with a friend or sleeping over with somebody. I didn't want to be alone, which is also shows how unwell I was, because my true nature, my true self, I'm an Aquarius. I love alone time. I love myself, my own energy. I love being alone. And it was like a really severe time that I was very out of whack and not myself. So these attributes were just time to go, but they taught me so many lessons, and they taught me how valuable it really is to have that ease and to have that regulation and to be able to sit with yourself. I got super into yoga, meditation, breath work, Reiki, all the things. And from there, it's just been a nonstop journey to the other side. So making myself do these hard things. Do you think I ever wanted to sit down and write I'm safe and protected every day? No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to forget that I didn't feel protected. I wanted to ignore that. But I started to reach a point where I said, okay, let me face this. And as soon as I had that energy about me and said, you know what? I can run, I can hide, I can make excuses, I can crawl away and die and hide, or I could really face this stuff and I could really try my best and see what happens. And that's the money. So from that has developed into a really disciplined and dedicated and devoted meditation practice. You guys know I wake up and I do not touch my phone at all in the morning until I've done my morning pages, my oil pulling, my meditation, my pranayama, my Reiki. Then I can check it, and then I can do whatever else it is I need to do. But that's hard. If you're sitting here and you don't have any type of morning routine and you hear all that, you're like, that's a lot, that's hard. Now it's second nature to me, and it's the easiest thing, and it's the most rewarding thing, because that's my me time, right? There's no void. There's just regulation, setting the tone for the day, filtering out the mental garbage, energy conversion box, there's everything. That's not hard to me. Now when I think about it, the way I was living before implementing this routine was way harder. Oh my God, waking up feeling so tired and just going straight away to the blue light. No, you couldn't pay me to do that again, because that's way harder. So choose your hard. And by doing these hard things, eventually you're going to one day just crave the peace and crave the quiet. I used to always want stimulation, always want music, movie, chatting, blah, blah, blah. I still love to chat. I'm an air sign for life. I love chatting. I could chat all day, but now I value so much more the peace and quiet. I used to have to sleep with a sound machine. I couldn't bear to have silence. I healed that. I don't even know how that happened. To this day, I'm still shocked by that, because anyone that knows me knows that when they sleep with me, I have to, and it's so annoying to them. And now, nope. Now I'm a normal girl. I don't need a sound machine. It's incredible. It's really life-changing to me personally, as someone that like needed these things and relied upon external tools and things. Not saying I don't rely on external things now. I rely definitely on like lotions, oils, and stuff like that. When I feel dry, I'm unwell, I rely on little spritzers, little moisturizers. I rely, of course, on my phone, but to the degree that I rely on it is far less than how I used to. And it's like, if something happened where I couldn't have it anymore, life would look different, but I know I could handle it. Whereas if you could have told me that a few years ago, I would have had panic in my heart, panic in my chest, felt super unsafe, felt like my connection to safety was taken away and that I couldn't handle that. So being able to sit with the self, I recommend little steps. For example, little boundaries with yourself. For example, not checking your phone while you're in bed. That's a sacred space. Or while you're in the bathroom. I know some people use it in the shower, which always confuses me because I just don't understand how that works. But if you are someone that somehow uses your phone in the shower, I would encourage you to make the shower a no phone zone, or the bathroom, or the bedroom, or pick something. If you text and drive, please try to not do that. Try your best, because if I see a texter while driving, I'm honking. I'm honking because I care about you. I care about me. I care about you. I'm honking. I'm saying, stop texting. Stop texting. That's not okay. That's not okay. Don't do that. Monkey brain, not even thinking about the people you could kill potentially while doing that. That's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the monkey brain that's like jonesing and cracked out and like, you see the people when they go, no, that's not healthy for your brain at all. Don't do that. It can wait. We have the signs in New York on the parkways that say, text stop ahead. It can wait. It can wait. You can wait. I would recommend sitting in silence if you want to. And I would recommend sitting in silence if you don't want to. I would recommend being out in public and not checking it. So let's say you're out at a restaurant with one friend. That friend goes to the bathroom. Don't do it. Don't do it. Deep breath, look around. In addiction and recovery, they say you have 30 seconds to run before you relapse. So if you apply that to this, if you apply that to you're out to lunch, your friend went to the bathroom, you go, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable, I want to check my phone. You have 30 seconds, run. Don't do it. Don't do it. Sit, look at people, be creepy, look out the window, do whatever, just don't check your phone. One story that I have about that is a friend and I were in Hawaii a few years ago. And at this point, it was summer. We were super blonde, super tan, obsessed with going to the beach all the time, obsessed with being tan. Nothing has changed. And we also didn't bring our phones when we would go out. eating, walking around. We just didn't bring them because we were over it. We didn't want our phones. This was also during COVID, so there were masks required. And at one point, my friend had actually passed out in a place that didn't have air conditioning because it was hot, and she had her mask on, and we didn't have our phones to call an Uber. We had to walk back. But anywho, the point is there were no phones. And at another restaurant, another day, we were there. She had gone to the bathroom, and I was just chilling, didn't have a phone, was super beached out looking and regulated and calm, obviously, because I was in Hawaii and I was blessed. And we were also going through a lot that time too. So that's something to be said. It's not just that like everything was so great. It's that we had to really just unplug consciously and really like full surrender and just let go of everything. So that was the energy we were working with. So I was sitting there looking, thinking, and the waitress comes over and she was like, I think she asked me where I lived. Like she thought I lived around the corner, or because she thought I was Hawaiian. She thought I lived there, which clearly I'm not, unfortunately. But I was like, no, I'm from New York. And she was like, you're from New York? I was like, yeah. She was like, wow, you're so chill. You're so like present. I thought you were like a local. And I was like, well, that was nice for my ego, but no. No, but what she means is that I was just present and facing whatever there was to face around. So that's another story. So being able to sit with the self, and you can tell this too, because we all see it best in a mirror. So if I'm out and I see a table out to eat and everyone's, you notice that. First thing you notice when you walk in a restaurant is like, oh my God, everyone's on their phone. That's weird. Maybe some places now they have the menu on the phone. That's a whole other thing. But it's easy to see that in someone else. But when you're doing it, you're in that world. So you're not thinking about how you're looking. But if you were to see an image of yourself doing that, at least for me, if I saw that, I'd be like, thank you for showing me that. That makes me just want to put it down right now because I don't want to get lost in this. And obviously moderate use, of course, is normal and fine. What I'm speaking on here is about being a slave to your device and about having the willpower and the love for yourself that some people might call discipline. I call love for yourself, to not pick it up at every spare moment and to not fill in every gap and fill in every void with, because that's boring. It's boring and it's harmful. You want love and happiness and harmony, and that doesn't come from always doing that. It really doesn't. And once you get over the hump of the habit, they say it takes 21 days to build a habit, but I always thought maybe 4 or 5 days in, if you're doing a phone break or a social media break, that's when it starts to feel like, okay, this is feeling like normal for me now. I can do this now. In the beginning, the first day is the hardest day. But once you keep doing it, it's like, okay, first day was so hard, and another day, and another day, and another day where you're implementing a habit. So I would recommend whatever it is for you, that one thing that you can pick for yourself, to the one habit that you'd say, if I did this every day, even for 5 minutes, my life would be good. I would be ascended. If I did this one thing for 5 minutes every day, I will see that benefit. Could be practicing a language, could be some type of body stretch or movement or workout, could be meditation, could be calling your grandmother, could be anything. And in the same token, one thing to get rid of. If you said, okay, if I stopped doing this one thing every day, my life would be so wonderful, so beautiful, and I would feel upgraded for sure. You know what that is for yourself too. I recommend trying it. Take a break. Take a break. You can always go back. You can always pick it up again. Just take a break, just to say that I can, right? I can do that. Sure, why not? Sure, it's hard. Does that mean I can't do it? No, it makes me want to do it even more now, because check, it's my hard thing day of the box. Check. let's see. I wrote down a few things, but, oh yeah, this one. This is a goodie. Just about, yes, about doing the hard things, but more so about sitting with ourselves, is that acceptance is the answer. So whether we're in fear, resistance, stubbornness, it's acceptance. It's acceptance that is that big missing piece for a lot of us. Okay, this is my moment. I'm in traffic. I'm jonesing to text and drive. Let me accept this moment. Let me take a deep breath. I'm in traffic. I'm in traffic. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. And it's not the circumstance that's ruling you. It's you that's ruling the circumstance, right? So if I'm in traffic and Billy Bob in the car next to me is in traffic, we're both in traffic, but me and Billy Bob can be having two total different experiences in traffic because our external circumstance doesn't rule how we feel, but we rule that. So I could be in traffic, listening to my Bob Marley CD, hooting and hollering, having a great time. He could be in traffic, contemplating jumping off a bridge. He really could. And which one sounds like a more fun way to live? We do pick that. And in the same token, when we were speaking about doing hard things, I feel like a huge missing piece that people would benefit from is by just radically loving something, because we decide what we love. There's things that we can objectively say, yeah, that's easy to love. It's easy for me to love money or designer. I don't know what people love, but the underdog or the dirty work, the dirty chore, it's harder to love that, right? So let's say every night you got a sink full of dishes and you say, oh, I don't want to do the dishes. You have your tantrum and then you go, what if by doing these dishes, I get awarded a pot of gold at the end of doing these dishes? Okay, now I'm doing the dishes, I'm doing it with love, and before you know it, you don't have to have the mind game pot of gold to inspire you to do the things that you naturally want to do, because you'll be reaching a point where you love doing the dishes. You can change that about yourself. Whatever you hate, you could love to do it. If I hate doing the dishes, I'm gonna say, wow, I'm so grateful for this hot water. Wow, I'm so grateful for this time in myself where my thoughts flow as one with the water. Wow, this is so stupid. Oh, but I really like how now the sink is clean and now I feel peaceful. Now my space is tidy. Now I feel like a pot of gold from doing this habit every day. Every day my sink is naturally clean and now I'm a different person. I'm a person that has a clean sink every day as opposed to a person that has 25 dirty dishes every day. That is objectively a different frequency and it just feels different. You know the feeling. When you wake up and you did the dishes the night before and you wake up and you're like, wow, my kitchen is pristine. Go me. I really gave a gift to myself last night, didn't I? As opposed to you wake up and you're like, oh, that bitch, aka myself, last night, she didn't pull her weight. Now it's today's me's problem. And that perpetuates a cycle too. So loving things, loving something, is your ticket. One thing about me, love my car. I love my car so much. And if you saw my car, you probably go, why? I got a 2005 Scion XA. Best car in the world, QB. Best car in the world. I love my QB. And if I was a billionaire right now, if little Jeff Bezos said, you're my child bride, take this money and this is all yours, you can have any car in the world you want, I would go, wow, thank God I already have my dream car. Thank God I already have QB. QB is so perfect. I love my objectively piece of shit car. I love it so much and I don't think it's a piece of shit at all, but everyone tells me that it is. Everyone tells me to get a new car. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Because I love my car so much. Yet, if someone else were to be in my shoes, they might easily complain about that car, or I'm not even gonna speak ill. It sickens me to speak ill about my car. I love it so much. So The point is, when you love something, no one can take that away from you, and no external thing can change that. And that is you being able to sit with whatever it is because you love it. So you can sit with yourself when you love yourself. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. Let that sink in. It's true. When we find something unacceptable, I'm quoting the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it is because we find something so disturbing and unacceptable to me that I feel the need to change it, right? That's why acceptance is the answer. When I find myself so moved, this can't be this way, this needs to change, accept. That's you when you're sitting with yourself. That's me when I'm sitting with myself. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like this about this thing that happened to me when I was 10 years old. Nope, accept. That's okay. Sit with it. The more you face it, the more you feel it, the more you emote and allow your emotions to flow and your truth to be spoken and yourself to feel and act authentically, you will be able to sit with yourself all damn day, and you will not only be able to, you will be excited to, and you will be jazzed up. You will be like, OMG, I'm hanging out with my favorite person ever today. Me, myself, I am hanging out with myself today, and it's like the meme where the guy's on one side of the bus looking out frowning and the guy's on the other side of the bus looking out smiling. I'm hanging out with me today, or I'm hanging out with me today. You choose. And I'm just telling you that if you are the sad little boy that's hanging out with me today, you can change to the guy who's looking out the window and he's in awe. He's in awe of all the things about himself. And guess what? He's in awe of the good, the bad, and the ugly. He's in awe of the shitty shitterson. He's in awe of these things that other people might say is a flaw or is wrong or is traumatic or tragic or pity. Because every single thing is happening for a reason. Every single thing is meant to be. And we can change our reality by changing our attitude and our self-concept and how we feel about ourselves, how we feel in our skin, in our mind, in our mental space. And the more we can enjoy being in this mental space, decorate your mental space. Imagine your mental space is an actual room. What does that room look like? You can draw it, you can paint it, you can write about it, you can describe it. My mental space room has some cobwebs in it. It's kind of dark. It has some bugs in there. It's raining outside the window. Or that's fine. If that's what you love, that's a good space. Or somebody like me, I love the sun. I love the rain too so much, but I love the sun. My mental space is surrounded by light and rainbows and butterflies. Unicorns are flying through. Whatever it is, that's my mental space. That's my room. So check in with yourself. In this moment, if my mental space was a room, what color would it be right now? What would be inside of it? Maybe there's some clowns, some scary clowns inside of it right now. I should go in there and I should clean that up and I should talk to those clowns and see what they're about and see what's up. Make that mental space decorated to your liking. You can decorate your mental space. You can give it a paint job. You can open up a window. You can have the creative freedom to change that any way you wish. It's the beauty, because it's up to you. It's not like, oh, let me look at my Pinterest board and see what inspo I can receive from other people to see what my mental space should look like. No. It's your choice. You are empowered. You are wise. You are in tune with yourself, and you are decorating that mental space with your child self, with your elder self, with your angels, with your ancestors and your pets and all your loved ones, everyone in your kingdom. Then, if your mental space is to your liking, you'll be able to hang out with yourself and have fun. And maybe it's a hard thing to do, to redecorate your mental space, but guess what? Check, it's even better. If it's a hard thing, it's even better. My friends and I always say, fuck it, we trigger. When something happens and we trigger someone or we trigger something or we say something and someone's hurt, the old knee-jerk reaction is like, oh no, I did this, or I'm bad, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. No matter what it is, obviously have your awareness, don't be a little bitch, but whatever is happening, anytime someone's triggered, that's a gift. You're giving someone a gift if you're triggering them. And don't forget that it works both ways. Anytime someone or something is triggering you, that is a blessing. That is such a huge gift, because you can do the hard thing of facing that trigger, sitting with it. Why did I create this? What is this here to teach me? What is this here to show me? What can I do now? What would higher vibrational self do to overcome this? How can I release this? How can I face this? Can I be authentic in this moment? Do I need to distract in this moment? Am I in survival mode? Am I unwell? Do I need to bring out the big guns and have a strict discipline with myself now until I can ride this out? It's such a blessing. It is such a blessing to be triggered. And it feels like shit. So not all blessings feel really beautiful, but when you come down from that trigger and you realize, when you look back a few days ago, oh, I was super triggered, but I really needed that. I was able to realize this about myself. I was able to change this. I was able to confront that person. I was able to decorate my mental space differently and make a change. There's no end. It's infinite. Infinite you, infinite me. Sitting with that infinite self. And when you dive into it, sitting with the self is so much fun because there's no limit. Like I said, it's infinite. You can do anything. You could be daydreaming, you could be manifesting, you could be escaping, you could be singing songs, you could be creating equations and solving problems of the world. You can do anything when you access that space. You can have the next best American novel written. You can have a Pulitzer Prize knocking at your door just by sitting with yourself and just by seeing what you have to offer. And what you have to offer is so much better, than what your phone has to offer. I promise you that, or what Instagram has to offer. I promise you, you are so much better than Instagram. Your brain is so much better than Instagram. So maybe share on Instagram. If you're using it, maybe share instead of, if you're somebody that's always consuming, maybe put something out. Because right now there are two groups of people online. One, the creators. People are creating, people are putting things out. And two, the other people online are consuming. They're not posting, they're lurking. They're not liking, they're not interacting, they're not commenting, they're lurking. They're there. So which one do you want to be? Do you want to be consuming other people's energies and frequencies, or do you want to be broadcasting whatever you want? And that's the fun part of it. It's like, if you think your life sucks, that's such a gift and such a blessing, because now you have the power and the room to change that and make it so much better. Even if you make your life a tiny bit better when it sucks, that's such an up level, that's such an upgrade. And then once you keep doing your little upgrades, you're gonna wake up one day and be like, oh my God, I lived the best life in the world. Same thing here. So many years of my life, if you would have asked me, I would say my life sucks. I literally hate my life. My life sucks, FML. I would say that all the time, FML. Now, oh my God, I don't even remember that. I actually just remember that just now. So that's interesting. FML, yeah, that's not a thing. I don't know if people even say that anymore, but that was a very big thing back then. But no, I honestly love my life so much. And here's the thing, not much has changed. Like, I live in the same place now where I used to live, but I used to hate it. The place didn't change. I changed. I used to, same body, same brain, same everything, but I hated it. And I wasn't comfortable sitting with myself, and I wasn't thriving and radiant and all these things. Now, oh my God, everything's the same, but everything is so different because of that quality of love and gratitude behind everything, and that peace and that ability to sit with myself. And also, I still struggle so much with this, if it sounds like I don't. You heard my modeling thing, that was just the other day that I finished that. And once I finished it, I was so happy, and I was like, this is incredible, this is amazing, I finished, I did it, my life is so beautiful. But even while doing it, I'm like, yeah, my life is beautiful, and I'm doing this hard thing. And it's kind of like George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, when nothing changes. He just feels so hopeless. He tries to jump off the bridge. He's unwell. Once he comes back to his life after going through the whole angel experience with Clarence and seeing how the world would be differently without him, and he comes back to his life, he's so happy. Nothing changed. He still had his same creaky floorboard stair with the broken step. He still had, debt. He still had all these things, but he was so happy to be home and back because he was gone, and he got that perspective change. That's what near-death experiences do to some of us. That's what grief does to some of us. It makes us really realize the beauty of things and the awe and the wonder that we have access to at all times. It is so incredible. But that's the point. The 3D doesn't change. The circumstance doesn't change. You change. But by you changing, what you look at changes. That's the quote, right? It's like, things don't change, or when you change, what you look at changes, I think is the quote. Someone quote me on that. And that's like the same quote that Anais Nin said. She used to say, Rip Anais, she said, we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. That's why me and Billy Bob in traffic, we're seeing the same traffic, but we're seeing them as we are. Or me and somebody else in a movie theater, we're watching the same movie, but we're seeing two total different movies because we're not seeing the movie as it is. Guess what? There is no movie as it is. There's just infinite versions of a movie that every single person is creating by projecting and broadcasting what they are at that movie and combining with what they notice. Yeah. Oh yeah, I have written here. When triggers come up, celebrate because you're not zombied out. So true, so true. I'll share another little story because now it's Scorpio season. And Scorpio season, if you don't know, is when things come to the surface. So maybe all year long, there's things that are below the surface. And it doesn't mean they're not there. They're just not really popping up. They're in your subconscious. Whether they're from childhood, from another lifetime, whatever they're doing, they're there, right? Scorpio season though, everything comes out. I think it's a great time of year. I love Scorpio season. However, sometimes it's hard. So a few days ago, I have this trigger. I don't even want to say the word, but one of my personal fears in life and triggers in life is lice. I'll say the word. Okay, it's lice. So I had lice as a kid, and it was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. In the same token though, someone else could have had it and not been traumatized by it, right? Because we create our realities. But to me, it was like the worst thing in the world. And I've had so many other issues in my life, but for some reason, something about lice, I'm itchy just thinking about it, cancel, it just traumatized me. And so I have these episodes now as literally almost a 30-year-old. I was like 12 when I had lice. And it's been many years of this where sometimes I will convince myself that I have it again. And it's never true. It's never once true. Thank God. But the other day, I was convinced I was seeing things. Now that I look back, it was probably just like skin. But anywho, I was seeing things. I was itching out the wazoo. I was just convinced, and nobody was around me. I was alone. So I couldn't even ask my mom or anybody to check my head, because that's my instinct, is to go to external validation and be like, somebody check me. Is this lice? So anywho, I don't even like talking about it, but I did end up facing that the past few days. And it actually coincided with my last modeling week. Was the same day that I was like convinced that I had lice, but I didn't actually itch the whole time, the whole 3-hour pose. So I think I'm healed and I don't have lice. But the moral of the story is that when triggers come up, celebrate them, no matter how terrible they are. I was like unwell. I was in Spain. I was upset. I was up until like 2 a.m. when I really like to go to bed early because I was just in turmoil and I was afraid. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna give it to my dog. I'm gonna wash my bed. Like I have to get a new bed. It was just, no, it wasn't real at all. And I hadn't had an episode like that in a very long time. I kind of thought I was over that. Hee hee, that's funny. But now I faced it, and I reached a point to it because it lasted for even a few days that I was like, do I, don't I, do I, don't I? And then I reached a point that I was like, you know what? If I fucking do, whatever, I accept it. Like, if I literally have lice right now, fine. That actually helped me a lot, believe it or not. I was able to get over it, and I think it does have to do with that. So celebrate when triggers come up, because you're on your path and you're on your way of upgrading and being the type of person that isn't affected by that, right? So my ideal higher self isn't afraid of lice. It's not a concern of hers. It's just not in her reality, right? But when I'm operating at my current self, there's a big gap in between who my ideal self is and what she's doing and what I'm doing now when it comes to that. If this person's going, I'm scared, and this person's going, no, I'm not thinking about that, I'm meditating, or I'm driving to Florida, whatever's going on, that's a huge difference. So we're basically bridging the gap, and by me saying, you know what, if it is, okay, I'll deal with it, I can do hard things, I accept it. That was me aligning with her up here, because that's how she's operating, right? She's not like, oh my God, my life is over, it's terrible, I'm spreading it to people, my dog's gonna get it. No, my dog does not have lice. So celebrate the triggers. This is a really nice thing I wrote down. Be someone your inner child self would be proud of and show them the way. That's so true. Because I always think about people that are pregnant or have kids, and it's like they kind of have that external motivation. Like, I don't want my kid to see me doom scrolling, or I don't want my kid to see me cursing and having road rage. Your inner kid, if you don't have kids, your little kid in there is always watching. So I don't want her to see me like this. I don't want her to see me like that. And that's a really big helper for me in those moments that I want to slip. And if I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing my practice right now, I don't feel like cooking for myself and nourishing myself and doing the healthy habit right now. And then I think, okay, but the little girl needs to eat, or the little girl needs to dance and have a little dance party with her favorite song right now, and so I need to do that thing. I can't shove the little YouTube in her face anymore. She can't watch any more videos. That's enough. The other thing I will say, speaking of YouTube and of videos, that I have a huge boundary with is the short form videos. So on YouTube it's called Shorts, on Instagram it's called Reels, TikTok I think it's just called TikTok, but those short form videos, I don't allow myself to watch those anymore because I couldn't handle them. Because if I would watch one, I'd watch more. And those videos, they would be in my subconscious. They affect how you live. When you are consuming any type of media, you're basically combining with that media and you're inviting it into your life. So be mindful about what you're consuming and what you're accepting and what your standard is for yourself. So now my new standard is no shorts. I mean, it's not a new standard, but ever since really declaring that, I think it was after summer, because during summer, who cares? I'm outside all the time, I'm barely on my phone, but once the fall sets in, more inside time, more phone time, and that's way more hours that I could really be held hostage on the shorts. And now I have to click anytime there's a short on my YouTube, I have to click not interested, not interested, not interested, and then they don't show me them anymore. And sometimes I really want to click the short, and I'm going to click not interested, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to click that I'm not interested, I want to watch it, but she's watching, she's in here, I'm gonna click the not interested. It's hard, but we can do hard things. Yes, we can. Yeah. Well, there was one other thing I wrote too, and it's about Saturn. So to dip into astrology a little bit, Saturn is the planet of discipline. And when you reach your Saturn return, for some people, depending on what sign your Saturn is in, your first Saturn return is typically between the ages of 27 and 30. And basically, if you're doing everything aligned with knowing what you're meant to be doing and you're on track and you're on your path, Saturn return will basically reward you and will give you a gift, and will, meaning astrologically, events and prosperity and positive things will flow into your life, right? On the contrary, when you are not on your track and not adhering to your internal discipline and devotion and love for yourself and all that, Saturn will rock your shit. And then it happens about like every other 30 years or so. So it's like your first Saturn return will be in that age group. Your second Saturn return will be, I guess, when you're almost 60. And it's a good check-in for reality. And even when you're not in your Saturn return, the planet of Saturn, like whatever sign your planet of Saturn is in, mine is in Pisces. Very karmic for me. And whatever sign your Saturn is in though, I recommend looking that up. And if you don't know much about it, there's a ton of websites or paid astrologers that you can consult with to tell you about that. But basically, as I think of Saturn as the strict teacher, like in elementary school, there would be a really fun teacher and there would be a strict teacher, right? And everybody wanted to be in the fun teacher's class. But for some reason, I always liked the strict teacher because I felt that the strict teacher was really nice and it was more rewarding when you had a teacher that wasn't goofing off all the time and they made you do your work and they made you do your reading and they didn't let you skimp and cut corners, and you knew that, so you knew that you had to be doing your best because the strict teacher wouldn't let it fly. And at the end of the year, getting that A from the strict teacher is going to mean so much more than getting an easy A from the fun guy. And I always like to be in that teacher's class, and I always actually was in the strict teacher's class because that's my vibe. And that's what Saturn basically is. Saturn is that strict teacher where it will be so beneficial and so rewarding if you are doing your work. You will feel good about that. And if you're not, you might hate that teacher. So there's people that like hate Saturn, which is crazy to hate a planet, but that's up to you. And you have the opportunity to work everything to be in your favor and to broadcast that things are in your favor and conspiring for you, never against you, unless you believe it's against you, right? Always for you, as long as you can see all the ways in which that's happening. And it could be hidden. It could be an illusion. As Bob Marley says, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So I think about that all the time. Enough said. I'll leave it at that. I will leave it at that. I will leave it at doing your hard things, celebrating your triggers, sitting with yourself, and just a little timer. If you can time yourself to do 5 minutes of sitting with yourself, or I know there's apps that you can put onto your phone that controls your screen time, and it can lock you out and make you take a deep breath every time you want to reopen it. Little things like that can just Pavlov yourself and prime yourself into being that person that you really want to be, because life is so beautiful, life is so infinite, there's nothing you can't do. Even if you are looking down and you have no legs right now, like there are things that you can do. Like there are ways that you can make everything more illuminated, more beneficial, more gorgeous, more stunning, just anything you want it to be. And that's the moral of the story. Sit with yourself, do hard things, don't use AI, don't talk to a bot, talk to real people, express yourself authentically, talk to your friends, talk to me, I'll talk to you, and tell people you love them, tell people the truth, tell yourself the truth, be a woman of your word, do your hard things with love. And guess what? That pot of gold will be yours. That $1 million will be yours. That Mercedes, whatever it is you want, QB, that 2005 Scion XA2 could be yours. For only hard work, discipline, devotion, and self-love, this too could be yours. Okay. Love you so much. I'm so happy to be here today, and thank you so much for watching and tuning in. I do have a lot of similar topic videos coming up. Every topic is just connected to me, so I try to organize it in a way that flows and makes sense for you all. So let me hear from you if you watch this, what you think, any questions, any takeaways, and I love to open up the discussions. always having discussions with everyone. And I think this theme has been coming up so much recently of being able to sit with the self. Somebody sent me this video from a Harvard PhD man, which again, that doesn't necessarily mean things to me, but I can understand that it has actual accreditation in the world. And this Harvard video was talking about why it's really important to sit with your phone. And they were saying, I think it was called like default mode network, I want to say, which is like, they were saying it's your state when you're daydreaming or when you're not plugged in. It's just, you're just in your default mode network, and basically being able to access that network is your subconscious and holds, I mean, the video didn't say that, but what I'm saying is that it holds all of your stuff, all of your goodness. So you can work with that energy to create what you want, to heal things, to face triggers, and sit with yourself. And just think about, if anything, if you need some external motivation, just think about how you just don't want to look like that. Like just the image of, just be like, wait a minute. I have these limbs. Let me feel them. Let me stretch them. Let me massage them. Let me moisturize them. Let me use them. Let me be present. Let me act how I would act if I was royalty and my people were watching me, right? Because you are. And you are. Okay. Love you.